I'll bet that's better. Let me know if that's better. I think I have been babbling to myself and didn't have my microphone turned on. There's just too much to all of this for this very non-techie person to keep track of. Still no sound. Still no sound? That doesn't seem right. Hold on a minute. Let me check something.
Is your headset plugged in?
Okay, let's try that. I think that might have been it. Let me know again. Let me know again. Kirk, can you hear me? I know you're there. And some of you are reacting. Is there any sound yet? You know, we're going to get this thing right at some point. Why is this not working? Lots of wires. Hold on. Still no sound. Still no sound. Okay. Hold on again. Let me turn this up. Ooh, I could hear that. Let me see the mixer. Everybody looks good. Nope, no sound, no sound. Still saying no sound. Okay. Oh, Nancy says I can hear you now.
Sound is on.
Sound is on. Yay!
Sound is on.
We will get this all together. We will, I promise. I just need a real technical person to like be here when I first come on and show me how to do it once. We've been figuring this out on our own, and clearly I'm not real good at it. So here you are, here I am. It's Wednesday night, and we are together. And all I was babbling about that you couldn't hear was that I once had a vision of me on a stage talking to an audience that I couldn't see, that I knew was there. I knew was listening. I could feel the audience, but I couldn't see them. And several people said to me at the time, well, that's television. You're meant to be on television. And I thought, well, all right. But it didn't feel quite right somehow. And somehow television never quite came together, although we tried several times. Radio did. I enjoyed doing radio. But I just wasn't sure about this vision, and yet it felt like it had an important message to me. And somebody said to me in the past week or so, I think you're doing that now. So maybe this is it. And what I love about this is that I can get instantaneous feedback. You guys can say, I can't hear you. And I can see that and do something about it. So, you know, I'm kind of excited about this whole thing. So, Wednesday, which we have now called Wednesday Matters. I like that. It's like the things that matter to me, to you, to us on Wednesday, the things that matter in the world on Wednesday when we get together, and the very fact that Wednesday matters, that getting together matters, that the very fact of our being together matters in a time when not everybody can connect. So, here we are. And I also said, when you couldn't hear me, that I loved that the very first Facebook talk was called Connect, because I think that's what it's all about. I think it's what we all need. I think that it's all about putting together those connections in our lives. Our connection with one another, our connection with the people that we love, our connection with ourselves. I know I'm listening to me more now than I was for a while. And our connection with spirit. mostly our connection with spirit, as far as I'm concerned. But our connection with each other is important too. As your names pop up over here on the side of my monitor, I think, oh, yes, oh, that one, oh, how wonderful to know that you're here. I mean that. It's like reconnecting with family that you haven't seen or been with or talked to in decades. Too much light. That's better, thank you. We're still working on some other behind the camera stuff right now. Oh, I think that's good. All right, yay. So I said I was going to do Wednesday kind of like I used to do Wednesday Night Live when I was in Burbank, which was basically I would eavesdrop on other people's conversations and something would snap for me, something would come together, and I'd say, that's what I want to talk about. Well, we're not going out to restaurants right now, and so I can't really eavesdrop on other people's conversations other than maybe Cac's phone calls, and that wouldn't be nice. So I'm going to share with you what I was doing today, because that's kind of the jumping off point for me. I picked up a copy of a publication from Unity, and you all know Unity, don't you? Probably all do know Unity one way or another. My mother read Daily Word when I was a little girl. I remember seeing her with that little book. And my mother-in-law read it when I was a young married person. And I have come to read it and enjoy it on a pretty regular basis. But what I picked up was actually not a copy of the Daily Word, but a little booklet that contained the poems of James Dillett Freeman. If you don't know his name, you might recognize his work. The most famous one, of course, is called The Prayer of Protection. It is the light of God surrounds me, the love of God enfolds me, the power of God protects me, the presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is. And sometimes that's followed with, and all is well. Freeman's poem was taken to the moon in 1969 by Buzz Aldrin on Apollo 11. And another of his poems was left there by astronaut James Irwin in 1971. He is sort of unofficially the poet laureate of the moon. He is officially the poet laureate, the only one who ever has been, for Unity. Freeman devoted his whole life to writing and sharing the Unity message because he said he wanted people to hurt less. His writing was mostly in Daily Word magazine. He was the director of Silent Unity for ages. I could have looked all this up, but I'm just talking off the top of my head right now. His writing accomplished his goal of helping people hurt less for generations of people. For my mother, for me, for so many other people I know, as I and they were evolving in this spiritual way that we choose to evolve. So I was reading this little booklet on Freeman, and in it, they say he told his close friends that his writing came from listening to his angels. Don't you love that? From listening to his angels. And that a poem was never finished, no matter how much he had written, until the angels gave him the closing line. What an idea. Listening to our angels. Freeman also wrote these words, and I want to share them with you if you don't mind. Perhaps he wrote, I am most like a song. What is a song? A song is a thought in the imagination of the composer, an unheard music of the mind. A song is words and notes set down on a sheet of music paper. A song is a sweet undulation of sounds for a little time in a certain place. And a song is also the singer singing, a mind and a body expressing themselves. I am the song and the sound and the singer. You will hear me again and again in different keys, in different voices, whistled and chanted and hummed, sometimes only a few bars, sometimes sung over and over. The singer may sing imperfectly, yet I am always the same perfect song. Imagined music in the mind of my composer, written down in the Eternal's music book, flawless and complete. I am God's song. Listen for me. You are God's song. Listen. Beautiful words, inspiring words. I hope you are inspired as I am by the beauty and the flow and the meaning of the words. I hope they help you to hurt less. I'd like you to consider tonight what being God's song might mean in your life. If you knew you were God's song, and if you knew the angels were singing in you, and if you listened and waited for the song, what might you do differently? What might you do instead of not doing? As it says in the good book, I'd like you to think on these things. What might your angels sing to you? What might your angels be singing to you right now if you really listened? What inspires you? What makes you feel complete? What might you do to help people hurt less? So many people seem to be hurting right now. Fear hurts. Losing your job hurts. Not being able to do what you do in the world hurts. What questions are in your mind? Feel free to ask. That's why I'm here.
Dana wants to know the name of the author again.
James Dillett Freeman. Dana? He's written so many beautiful things, other things you would recognize, I think. But certainly the prayer of protection is the big one that everyone knows. As I said, it's planted on the moon. And I believe at least the three Unity churches that I have been involved with, all three use that as their closing. They say it either just before or just after they sing the peace song. Some things never change. But it's beautiful. When I was being the minister at the Unity Church in Cambria for 3.5, 4 years, we had the children do it. They would come up at the end of the service and not just say the words to the prayer for protection, but they had a whole little routine, like a dance routine that they did with it. Don't ask me to show you what that is right now because I don't remember. Cat probably does, but I don't. But it was all about feeling the presence of God, all about being in that, knowing that God protects and knowing that God loves and knowing that all is well, which is still why I say that way. Um, it was an interesting experience letting the children guide us in the prayer for protection. Always. I loved it. It was probably my favorite part of the service. I don't know how much the kids loved it, but I certainly did. So, questions. Come on. I know you're out there. Talk to me. Talk to me. Or I'm just going to keep babbling. You know I can and will. I love to talk. And I especially love to talk to you. What a thrill it is to be back together. It's been a long time. What a thrill to know that even though I can't see you personally, I can see your little comments on the side. And I bet if I pulled this little thing down and scrolled down even more, I could be more up on what you're thinking and saying right now. Ah, yes, we love the children. James Dillett Freeman. Loved the daily word. Yes, Jennifer. I didn't so much when my mother was reading it because it was hers. She did that. And when my mother-in-law was reading it, it was kind of like, well, okay, she's into that kind of thing. She gave me my very first copy of Science of Mind magazine, my mother-in-law. And I looked at it, I opened it up, I leafed through a little bit. Every page said God on it. And I thought, oh, I'm not sure I do that anymore. And she was a lovable kind of whack job sometimes. So I wasn't sure I wanted to be involved in anything that she talked about or was promoting. So I took the book and I put it on the bookshelf, and it stayed there for a long, long time. I'm talking 15, 17, maybe 20 years. And then a good friend introduced me to the Church of Religious Science. And I thought, I've got that book somewhere. It's right up there now. Several copies of it, as a matter of fact. I have the original version, 2 of those, and I have, a leather-bound edition that someone gave to me, and I've got a bunch of them, and my life has changed because of it. I know your lives have changed because of it. That mother-in-law did live to see me become a religious science minister and was at everything she could come to practically right up until the day she died. So I'm sure she got some satisfaction out of it, and I more than once thanked her for the book.
Nancy's worried. She's worried that people are not listening to their angels, especially people in power and leadership.
Ooh. It's a good concern, Nancy. And I would say that the news bears you out. That there are a lot of people not listening to their angels. I know the angels are singing. I know the angels are talking to them. But I think there are a lot of people not listening. In the same way that I took that wonderful book that could have changed my life when I was 21 and put it on the shelf and left it there. Okay, so it wasn't 20 years. It was close. When we're ready, we make it a point to listen. And when we listen, we hear. And I believe you're right. There are a lot of people not listening to their angels. A lot of people who don't even know they're angels to listen to, but aren't even listening to what they call their conscience. I think that's relatively clear. I'm not going to name names. Don't need to, do I? We can each simply be responsible for ourselves. We can listen. And in our listening, pray for the guidance to do more. What are you called to do? What do you, what is your assignment here on earth? And you've heard me say this before, but I'm going to say it again. If you're still here, you haven't done it yet. God's not through with you. So what is yours to do? And if you don't know, then be still and listen for your angels. They'll guide you. They'll show you. We can't make anyone else listen, but we can listen to our own angels and then be guided to do what is ours to do to make the world a better place. You know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can send a politician emails about the truth as you understand it, but you can't make him listen. Maybe you could be an angel. Maybe you could have a message that someone needs to hear it and put it in such a way that they, even though a million other people have said the same thing to them, they hear it when you say it. Well, what's yours to do? Listen to your angels. Don't worry about other people's angels. Hold on. Message coming in. My angel.
Lady says, when you asked me what my song was many years ago at Spirit Works, I said it was Side by Side. We ain't got a barrel of money. Maybe we're ragged and funny. That's how life was, and I got over that.
Oh, yes. I remember that. I remember strange things. I may not remember what I had for dinner last night, but I remember things like that. I also remember Ayla asking if God was in her shoes. Although I'm entitled to remember that. I've told that story so many times over the years. Yeah. So what's your song now? If the angels are singing to you, what's your song now? It changes, doesn't it? I was thinking about a song the other day. I mean, right in this moment, I don't even remember what it was, but it was something out of my teen years, or maybe pre-teen years. And I was thinking, I loved that song. I sang it all the time. And listening to the words today, because I made Alexa sing it to me, listening to the words today, I thought, that's a terrible song. Oh my God. It might as well rain until September. You know, there, I've just doomed myself to a whole summer of unhappiness because some dude is off with his family doing the holidays somewhere else. Or have to go with my family and I don't want to, I want to be with him. Oh, dear God. Dear God. I don't even remember who that was, but I remember thinking the song was very appropriate. And it's terrible. It's terrible. But maybe part of our evolution is to go through, I'm sure part of our evolution is to go through those stages where we think those songs are the be all end all and it will be our theme song for the rest of our lives. And every stage of our life, as we evolve, we've got a song. The angels may not be singing to us, but the DJs are playing stuff for us until we choose our own song. Kirk's angels are hooked on Ozzy. Oh, I love you guys. I just really do. Susan, it says here the only reason I asked is because my 91-year-old mother asked me. Would you repeat your question so we can catch it? Life is good. Think on those songs. Think on, oh, Kirk, I love you too. I just, you're the family of my heart. I was an only child. I think most of you know that. But if you don't, now you do, if you didn't know it before. I was an only child, which to this day, I don't know how good I am at playing with others because I never had to. But then there was nobody to play with. You are my chosen family, the family of my heart. And it is so very good to be back with you because it reminds me of who I am. It reminds me of my higher self, if that makes any sense to you. You are constant reminders to me that I have a responsibility to be the very best me that I can be and to share the truth as I know it, as I understand it. I thank you for that. That's huge. That's just huge. To have that kind of connection, people of like minds, they would have said in Ernest's day, I suppose they still say it. People of like minds, that we can talk the truth as we understand it over together and call ourselves to commitment and dedication and responsibility, which is the ability to respond to what is going on in the world. Laura says, how do you find your assignment? Listen. Listen. I can tell you that back when I was seriously worried about what I was going to do when I grew up, and I was, according to my driver's license, already one of them, but I was clueless about where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. So I prayed. And what I prayed for was not a job. I didn't even pray for clarity. I prayed for passion. Because I decided that the people that I most respected and felt connected to in the world were passionate about what they did. Some of them were real, some of them were imaginary characters. Some of you remember what I said. I wanted to be smart like Perry Mason. I wanted to be clever and agile and had legs like Mrs. Peel. I thought maybe I wanted to be a journalist like Lois Lane. But I listened. And what I finally came to the realization of was that none of those jobs necessarily was the job I wanted to do or what I wanted to do with my life, but the passion that those people seemed to have for what they were doing in the world, that I wanted. So I prayed for passion. I prayed for clarity on work in the world that I would be so passionate about, I couldn't wait to get up in the morning. And I couldn't wait to go to work, and I hated to leave work because I loved what I did so much. It worked. Oh, did it work? When I met a lot of you. What do you want? Do you want security? Then pray for security. If you want to know what your assignment is, and that was the question, and I'm not evading it, then listen to your angels. But I would start with what gives you the greatest joy. What is most in alignment with your values and what is truly important to you? What gets you excited? What thrills you to simply even think about it? Your assignment is in that direction. My theory is this. When you're trying to figure out where to go, look for an open door. Not just any open door, an open door you actually want to walk through. And then walk through it. And don't second guess yourself. Walk through the door that opens. And if you're at a door and struggling with it and trying to get it to open, that's not your door. That's not your door. Look around you. The door that opens is usually blown open by the wind that has moved from your soul. Walk through the open doors. It may not be the open door. Very frequently, one door will lead to another. While I was busy trying to figure out what I was going to do that was going to give me passion, and I wasn't like instantaneously clear, I walked through the door that said practitioner on it because I thought that would be a good place to be. Because my practitioner was a great role model. And because I thought there's something calling me behind that door. So I walked through that door. And after I walked through that door, well, I think I've told this story before, but let me tell it anyway. I was sitting in church one Sunday listening to Peggy Bassett, who was my first religious science minister. I was listening to her, and this I now realize was an angel, but at the time I just said it was a voice in my head. This voice said, I wouldn't say that way. I wouldn't have said that way. And the voice said, how would you have said it? And I said, well, as I was, yes, in fact, talking to myself, but not out loud. Well, I would have said, and then the voice was quiet for a while. And a few minutes later, darn, there it was again, that little voice that said, I wouldn't have said that way. And the voice said, how would you have said it? And I thought about it. And I said, well, I would have said, and then the voice was quiet again. It happened one more time that Sunday morning. I was holding this entire conversation in my head with my angels. I didn't know that. In the moment, I thought it was just a nagging little voice. And it sounded strangely like mine. Have you ever noticed when you're listening to the voices in your head that very frequently they sound just like somebody? If they sound just like somebody, you might recognize that what you've done is clicked into the committee and not the angels. Because I really do believe that our angels sound a lot like us. They speak from our spirit, they speak from our soul, and who else would they sound like? Mine's a little sassy. Shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. Finally, the voice said, if you think you can say it so much better, why don't you go to ministerial school? I couldn't imagine what that would look like. I couldn't imagine how I would do it, where I would do it, what was going on. But somehow all that came together, including a time not long later, I mean, probably within the same month, that I was sitting at the desk in my home office, and I literally looked up and said, God, a note would be nice. I don't know what to do with my life. Just if a little piece of paper could float down out of the heavens and land on my desk and it would say, go do this, I would go do that. The phone rang. It was my good friend ex-husband who said, I don't know why I'm calling you, except that I have this need to say to you, why don't you go be a minister? I think you'd be great at it. He didn't know a whole lot about my spiritual path. We had been separated for some time. We hadn't talked in ages. But he changed my life that day. That's one of the angels. Angels can speak to you in your head, and I think angels can sometimes also pop up, invited or uninvited, through people in your life who say just what you need to hear when you need to hear it. Listen for your angels. They'll tell you what your assignment is. And then it's up to you to accept it or not. It isn't always easy, and it isn't always what you expect. But I think it's always right. Do we have any other questions?
Greg is here,
Greg is here.
and they're talking about not having a spiritual family since Burbank, and now they've found one.
Yeah, we have, haven't we?
And they're home.
Here we are. And I love this. This is kind of a full circle thing for me. My immediate family, me and the kids spouses and the kids and their spouses and their kids, are meeting on Sunday nights with Zoom, which is a whole lot easier than Facebook to put together. But we're connecting on Sunday nights, and then we're all connecting. The spiritual family is connecting on Sunday afternoons and Wednesday nights. I love that. I love that. And you must too. And I'm so glad. Because I'd be very lonely talking to myself, although I would probably do it anyway. But it's so much better knowing you're there. So much better having a family of the heart. You're welcome, Laura. Oh. Nancy says, I can read this. She said, I may need to jump off, but how can I support Reverend Marlene's Hour? Is there a donate button on this Facebook page? No. I've been told Facebook doesn't like it when we do that. So what you can do is go to the Relevant Spirituality website, not the page here, but the website, and make a donation there if you choose. And I'd love it, of course, if you would do that, because that would help pay for some of the equipment we are investing in and some of the time and some of the resources. But, this is a hard time for everybody. So more important than any of that, be here. Be here. Come together. When we're not together, think about what questions you might like to ask. Think about what you'd like me to talk about. And let me know what that is. I am more than happy to do that. Hold on, I'm putting my glasses on so I can see the time, because I have a little thing I'd like to close with, and I don't want to miss it. Oh, my angel just dropped in with a note. See, sometimes it is a piece of paper falling out of the sky. And it says here, promote Sunday. So I'd love to. Two things are happening on Sunday. One is at 10 a.m., I am going to be speaking with the Ventura Unity Church. I say with because it's not at. I'm going to be right here, same background, probably. I may move. We may move just to get a different background for a few minutes. Anyway, at 10 a.m., Unity of Ventura Unity Church is doing a Zoom service. And if you go to their website, you can click on a link there ahead of time, or I'm not sure.
We'll post it on your page.
Okay, we'll post it on this page. There. See, she says that like it's so easy. Oh. Okay, so 10 a.m. I'll be speaking with Unity of Ventura. At 12 noon, we'll be here on my Facebook page, same place, same time every Sunday, noon o'clock. And what else could I tell you about? And then, of course, back here on Wednesday, which I love. Wednesday's fun for me because I don't have to have notes and have it all organized. I can just talk to my family. So now it's getting closer. Let me do my closing, and then And then if you have any questions, go ahead and post them while I'm doing this. But I want to share something with you. So let me do that. Hold on. I'd like to do a prayer. Yeah, I'd like to do a prayer. Let's start with that. And close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or just soft focus if you'd rather. Your angels will hear you. Spirit will hear you whether your eyes are opened or closed. And simply know with me that where two or more are gathered, there in the midst of that is the power of God. Where one is, there is the power. But sometimes we're disconnected. And when we are together, there is a reminder to connect. Let us be that for one another. Let us be that connection to our inner wisdom, to our understanding, to our love, and above all, to the presence. It feels sometimes, frequently, that there's an enemy out there. But what is even more important to know is that there is a friend right here and right now. That in this place, wherever this place may be, there is the presence of God. We no longer need to convince ourselves that it takes a pointy roof to bring God in. Some of us have pointy roofs, some of us do not. But because we are here, God is here. And because God is here, all things are possible. The world is changing. It will probably never be the same. But then it never is. We only fool ourselves into thinking that it might be. Let us know tonight together that the world is changing for good. For good. That all things are coming together for good. That in spite of appearances, God is so very present in the world. And where God is, it is good. There is good. Let us use these times together to remember. To stoke the fires of understanding, of passion, of love, to awaken the angels within us. And to know that whatever is happening around and about us, within us there is peace. Within us is unlimited possibility, for within us is the presence of God. Accepting that as the truest reality, as the greatest fact of our lives. Let us be certain that we can go forth into the world, into the new world, calm, peaceful, prepared to change as we must, prepared to be the change agents we are called to be. Our angels will sing in us. They will speak to us. And we will be God's song. And so it is. So we absolutely, joyously allow it to be. So it's about time to close for the night. Getting close to that time anyway. Abraham Lincoln, in his first inaugural address in 1861, said, "I am loath to close." I know how he felt. I kind of want to pull up a cup of tea or a glass of wine, maybe a glass of wine, and sit and talk to you some more. But you have lives to lead and things to do, and I do too. "I am loath to close," Lincoln said. "We are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies. Though passion may have strained, it must not break our bond of affection. The mystic chords of memory, stretching from every battlefield and patriot grave to every living heart and hearthstone all over this land, will yet swell the chorus of the Union when again touched, as surely they will be, by the better angels of our nature." The better angels. As you go through this week, as you experience moments of elation and moments of anger, as you experience frustration, perhaps even despair, stop and listen. And I know that if you are open and willing, if you come off automatic, you will hear the better angels of your nature. And those angels will sing in you their song of love, of wholeness, and of a peace that passes understanding. And you will once again be made whole as you remember that your assignment is to be God's song. And in remembering, you will have renewed faith and confidence in yourself, in your angels, and in your God. I'll look for you next Sunday at noon. If you can't watch the live broadcast, it's posted immediately afterwards, so listen. And I'll be back here next Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock with you, I hope. And bring friends. Bring friends. Tell your friends about this. Have them come to the page during the week. Tell them they can test it out all by themselves. They don't even have to walk into a pointy-roofed building. They can sit in their home and click on and join us. And if they hate it, they don't have to come back, but offer it to them. How many of us are here tonight and have been in our churches or wherever we have been because a friend kept inviting? Invite. That's the greatest thing you can do to support, is invite. When there are enough of us, everything will be a lot easier. So next Sunday at noon, this coming Sunday at noon, or at Unity Ventura at 10, or back here next Wednesday evening at 7. Until then, know that you go with God. Because, in fact, you can go no other way. Oh, I love reading your names. I love knowing you're here. I'm looking forward to the next meeting too, Jennifer. I love you all very, very much. Welcome home.